This is the Horse Radio Network.
Welcome to episode 563, my goodness, that's a lot, of the Eventing Radio Show, brought to you by the Eventing Riders Association of North America.
This week on the show, we have a guest all the way from South Africa speaking to us, Sue Gilliatt, who is a top bidding consultant. And then we also speak to one of the very best Irish riders around, and also one of the youngest. It is young Cathal Daniels joining us to discuss his recent success in the Indoor Eventing Challenge. I'm Liz Halliday-Sharp, coming to you this week from Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Paul Tapner, coming to you this week from Wiltshire, United Kingdom, and you are listening to the Eventing Radio Show. So, Liz, it is done nothing but rain and rain and rain in the UK, all of the autumn and all of the winter. So you have picked a very good year to leave the United Kingdom for good and head back to the United States. I am so jealous.
Well, it has. Actually, it was very, very warm in Ocala today, and it's been threatening to rain. But I have just come back from Boston, which was a whole different thing. I've just been at the USEA convention, which was frantic and crazy, but useful at all the same time, like it always is. And we're all go here. We've got all our horses in work, and it is crazy. But I'm not sad to not be getting drowned in the UK. I have to say, it's all the reports I keep getting is how wet and disgusting and muddy everything is. And this is not my favorite time in England. But nonetheless, you've still been out doing, you've been out doing lots of indoor eventing competitions, which I'm very jealous about. And we are going to speak to a young man who's actually been winning a few of those later. But
it's all right. I beat him in one. I beat him at one.
You beat him in one.
I beat him at Paris, and I bet he tries to ignore that fact. But I did beat him at Paris, but he did beat me at well, funnily enough, he won two of them, so he beat everybody at Stuttgart. Oh, actually, no, he didn't beat me at Geneva. I didn't even go to Geneva, but he did win twice, so he's doing exceptionally well. The showdown will continue at the end of this month at Liverpool International when we go up there to our final indoor arena eventing class of the season. But yeah, it's great doing these things in the indoor and these massive shows. I mean, these shows are something else. The Paris Salon du Cheval is just unbelievable in its size. It has arenas upon arenas upon arenas upon shopping hall upon shopping hall upon shopping hall upon stables like you would not believe. I mean, there's just these vast buildings full of stables, and it is just the slickest of operations you've ever seen. Every stable, whenever it has a new horse coming in or out, is completely freshed out of manure and things. Like, biosecurity is amazing. Every single truck that comes in and out has to be disinfected. They have a disinfection team, so you have to go in and get your truck disinfected, and it is just phenomenal. I mean, I was just in awe the whole time I was there, and then had to try and concentrate late at night to do one of these fantastic classes. So they're certainly great fun, and I'm enjoying being able to ride this time of year because I haven't been. This is my first year. I've not done a single proper eventing competition. Liz.
My gosh, did you feel rusty, or did you just pull your old guy out and just off you went?
It was a little nerve-wracking, I must say, and I haven't actually had chance to go and do any show jumping shows in preparation. So I've just been. I'm pretty lucky at Wickstead, where I'm based. I've got a fantastic arena, massive outdoor arena that has permanent arena eventing facilities there. So I've got the ideal situation to warm up and practice on. So just plenty of watching the videos online. This is my top training tip, Liz. Watching the videos of past events that I was about to go to online, and then simulating those things at home in my arena, trying to set them up and trying to do similar, ready to go out and do it. But so yeah, that's been quite exciting. And Other exciting news that's just come out is the Event Rider Masters calendar for 2020 has just been published, and I'll let you in on a secret, Liz, because I'm sure you've not seen any of the news because you've been busy riding your horses. But there's now two legs. We've reverted back to two legs in the UK. So kicking it off at an event which is heavily populated by the world's best event riders in Europe, and that's at Burnham Market. So we go first off to Burnham Market, then the Masters heads to Chatsworth House. So two legs straight up in the UK. Then over to Arville, and we miss out on one of your favourite shows, Wiesbaden. Unfortunately, we're not able to go to Wiesbaden. The Masters is not able to go to Wiesbaden this year because of a huge amount of calendar clashing on the FEI circuit, with everything getting jigged around because of the Easter holidays, as well as the Olympic year, everything getting shifted around. But off to Arville, which I know you've been to Arville, Liz, and a beautiful venue at Arville, followed by Jardy, Mill Street, and then Lignières to finish. So it's going to be a great Masters season in 2020.
Wow, it sounds amazing. And I actually had someone asking me when I was at the convention, would we ever have one in the US? And I said, you know what? I know that it's been talked about, and it would be really great. And perhaps I can ask you the question. Is there ever the possibility of making it over here? I know a lot of riders would love to be a part of it. It's not a possibility.
It's a definite wish. You know, we definitely want to include the United States, and indeed maybe even Canada as part of the Event Rider Masters. We have a very massive ambition to be truly global. The thing is, what we don't want to do is have one. You know, we could just have a Masters leg in the US now, but then it would only be populated by the riders based there. You know, we want it to be truly international. So if we come to the US, we want to be able to bring a certain number of the European riders who are frequenting the Masters and that the Masters circuit for the past 4 years. We want to bring them to the US to really make sure that we are challenging the riders, pitting them against each other, and it's a true international. So, you know, that takes a bit of money, and we need a sponsor. So if we when we get the sponsor that is keen to support us in having that US leg of the Masters, then it absolutely and utterly will happen. But unfortunately, haven't found that sponsor in 2020. We keep searching. If anybody wants to get in touch and help us out, we're more than happy to have that conversation.
Well, fingers crossed, because I will definitely miss being a part of the Event Rider Masters series this year, and it would be great if they could come over. So we'll keep fingers crossed and keep our feelers out, and you never know, it might just happen.
Indeed, it certainly will happen in the future. But enough from us. Let's hear from our guests after this word from our sponsors.
When it comes to feeding your horse, are you sure you're giving them every possible advantage? With Pro Elite Horse Feed, you can. It's the only horse feed to offer unparalleled amino acid profiles for enhanced performance, regulated starch and sugar levels, the best digestive package available, and nutrition-locked formulas that are crucial to overall health. Combined, these advantages create a winning formula for your winning horse. To learn more about feeding your champion, visit www.proelitehorsefeed.com.
We are very pleased to be joined by an interesting guest today, Sue Gilliatt, who is a bidding consultant. Sue, welcome to the Eventing Radio Show.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Paul. It's an honour to be able to share knowledge and to be able to speak to people and to be able to explain what I do and how bits work. Very excited. Thank you.
So just talk us through a little bit. I mean, I've, of course, met you myself, and I would be a self-proclaimed bit geek. I would say, like I always say to my friends, some girls buy shoes, I buy bits, and it's a bit of a problem. You've seen my tack room. So I was very excited to get to know you and see what you do, and it's made a huge difference for some of my horses, especially some of my trickier horses to bit. So just talk us through a little bit what exactly it is that you do and the process that you go through.
Okay. So what I started about 3 years ago when I looked at bitting through the eyes of the horse and to see how we can make the horse more comfortable and happier. I am eventing my daughter's event. So eventing, because it covers 3 disciplines, I was able to touch and feel each one of those disciplines. We started by trying to mould the entire of a horse's mouth, thereby being able to see what was going on in the horse's mouth. I had this crazy dream that bits would no longer be hanging on the shelf, and that everybody would buy a moulding kit, which would be sent away, and then you would receive the bit that you needed. That was, it soon became very quick that was never going to happen. Bitting is a nightmare. You walk into tack shops, whether you're an Olympic rider or you're happy hacking on a Sunday afternoon, and you'll walk into a tack shop and you'll see 40,000 variations of bits, and you have no idea which bit to buy. So you rely on your instructor, and you rely on the person that sold you the horse. You rely on the fact that that bit worked on the other horse, so therefore it must work on this horse. 9 times out of 10, it does not work. So what we have now done and perfected is that we now mould the inside of the horse's mouth. I work with an equine dentist. We gag the horse up. In we go with our head torches, and we look at the conformation of a horse's mouth. The jaws are different. The width of the bars are different. Bar damage is very prominent. We're then able to take all of those notes, we cast that mould, and we're able then to bit a horse comfortably. I've simplified that terribly, but that covers, and that basically what it does, but it takes quite some time. We then work with the rider, and we talk to the rider, and we want to know what the rider wants to feel at the end of the rein, whether they want weight at the end of the rein, whether they want lightness at the end of the rein. We then look and see how the horse has behaved previously and what bits they've had in before. And then the education starts. So we then go to each bit that rider and horse combination have been using in the past, and we explain why it's not working. And we look at video footage, and we predict the way the horse will go with those bits, because they can have a bone spur on the bar. That is the equivalent of you running a marathon, or me making you run a marathon, because you don't have a choice that you're a horse, with a stone in your shoe. And because you then start going, ouch, that actually hurts, as riders, we naturally go, and the immediate reaction is to go, we'll bit them up, because that will work. And so we put another stone in the shoe, and we make them run faster. Now, that stone in the shoe will make them veer right, it will make them veer left, it can make them throw their head, drop their head, dive into a cross-country jump as a panic. So once we educate the owner and the rider, we then introduce bits that we believe will be suitable to that horse. Sometimes it's revolutionary. The difference is like day and night, because we've taken the pressure off. A horse is only misbehaving. A horse only pulls and tugs and yanks because he's uncomfortable. They're into pressure. Take the pressure off. And they go, oh, no, that's quite nice. I can lift the head up. Ask me if you want me to go right or left. I'm with you. I can do this now. You're no longer having a fight. You will never win a fight with a horse. When you're going on a cross-country track, it should be a gentle canter through the country that just happens to have some jumps in the way. If you are being tanked like a train, if you are pulling going into those last 2 strides, we need to be able to look at that horse and see why that's happening.
So Sue, I was I've been lucky enough to have half a day with you myself, and we did mold a lot of my horses, and it was interesting because I'm a really big believer. Like, I'm completely on board. I'm a big believer that there's a bit for every horse, and I also believe that horses change as they change in their training, and I think sometimes the bit that worked a year ago maybe isn't what they want now, so horses change their way of going. Absolutely. So what I found interesting was we had, you're very, very good at getting the sizes right. And some of the bits that I ended up using on a horse at the time, that's maybe changed. And I've gone to another bit that you advised me. It was it was an interesting bit that I should try. And there I've ended up using the bit that I tried on one horse on another horse, and it's been revolutionary. So a lot of it is just learning, isn't it? And I think that's what a lot of us,
it is.
Around, we don't understand.
Correct. It's a lot of it is education, and it's a lot. So you will now look at it from an educated perspective, going, the horse was doing this. What if I try that ported bit? What if I take the pressure off the tongue? What if I take the pressure off the bars? What if I adjust the pole pressure? Because you're an empowered rider now. And you're absolutely right. Horses, muscle memories change. They grow stronger through the neck, stronger. They're pushing more from behind. Absolutely, we have to. as you would if you're any athlete doesn't use the same pair of training shoes from the beginning to the end of his career, and whatever in any discipline. So we have to work with, and that's why Andrew is fabulous, and he will always fly me over if he says, well, I've got a problem with this and a problem with that. I have a lot of repeat clients, and I spend a lot of my time watching WhatsApp video clips of clients that I've worked with before, because it's a journey. It's an absolute journey. But the joy you get from clients who come back to you and say, you know what, Sue, I listened to you and I've changed a bit and this has happened. And that to me, that's all I want. I just want happy, comfortable horses. And it is all through education. That's all it is. Education through instructors, education from top riders so that they can be seen to be having bits that fit. We don't want to tie anything. So that 90% of what I do is education. Knowledge at the end of the day is king. Bitting is constantly overcomplicated. Stripping back to basics to say, right, this is what the horse's mouth needs. Now, that's the horse comfortable. What do you need at the end of the rein? How can I change the cheek piece to help you? And it's also winning confidence. We find that lots of top riders and also amateur riders want more. They'll go, that will never work. That'll never work. So I can't possibly go around a meter 40 track. I can't possibly go around a 3-star. It'll never work. And I have to win their trust. And that once I've won the trust, I'm on a home run. So it's a very emotional journey, bitting. Hence, that's why you're a bit addict, I'm sure, Liz.
A bit addict, that's a very good name, yeah. I like some girls buy shoes, some girls buy bits. I could say something about that, but I'm just going to leave that hanging there for Liz to deal with. But
I actually buy shoes too, which is a problem. But anyway, carry on.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Tis the season with Christmas around the corner and all. You know, we know what we can buy, Liz. Now, so just to take you through a little bit of that process, you said we sometimes overcomplicate it, but you've mentioned, gagging them up with dentists and taking moldings and measurements and everything. And actually, it sounds even more complicated. I mean, I know you're the expert, so you have to have that level of knowledge. So just briefly, you said when you gag them up, so that's working with the dentist the same way as an equine dentist would do. They put the gag in the horse's mouth just to keep it open so you can look inside without getting your arm bitten off. And then when you go, you say you do some molding, and I think that's been a learning curve for yourself as well as to whether you can use that regularly or not. So what's involved in molding the horse? What do you mean by that? Because that's a new term to me. I've worked with bitting consultants, and I'm 100% convinced on everything you've said in terms of the comfort, the pain, the response, the trial and error, getting the right bit for the horse and the rider. But the molding, that's a new thing to me. So talk to me about that.
So when you bit a horse, you rely on various aspects in which to control the horse, your brakes and steering, because that's effectively what you're using the bit for. So when we mold the horse, we're looking particularly at the bars. Now, the soft target of any of bitting is to go for the tongue and the bars and the cheeks. We can apply pole pressure, we can apply curve pressure, we can apply nose pressure, and we can see all of those. We can see by when we gag up, we can see the teeth, we can see bit damage, we can see how the teeth are doing and everything like that. But we can't really see what's going on with the bars. So what we do is we take a simple powder, for want of a better word, which is the same as we would use as a human. So we remove the tongue and we press down, the same as you would if you were going to the dentist to have a mold made for your own teeth. So it's an instant impression. It doesn't absorb, the horse doesn't absorb anything. It's over within seconds. It's just a very cool sensation that they get. We lift it out and then we cast it into plaster of Paris. That gives an exact replica of what's going on under that tongue. But they're very important for two reasons. One is that they can be uneven. So if you think of the bit sitting in the mouth, if you have a bar higher than the other side, it's going to hit the highest bar first, which will create a one-sided pressure.
Indeed. So with that molding, you're then able to. Do you actually customize the bits, or is it you're just able to choose the correct bit off a shelf? We all know, as Liz said, there's thousands of bits out there. There's hundreds of different manufacturers. The list is fairly endless. I mean, when you start talking about uneven bars and that sort of thing, it's almost like you're talking like you're going to customize something. Or is there, we're used to having bits in styles, be they ported, be they jointed, be they double jointed, be they, all the different types of side pieces, be they FM'd rings, loose ring, egg butt, D ring, pelhamed gag, European gag. We can go through the list.
You can go on forever. We've got Grazers, Stocklands. There are thousands of variations. So we have found that with the variations that we have on the market, we can cherry pick a cheek piece and a mouthpiece 9 times out of 10. However, some owners, some horses are in customised bits that we've actually made, and that's been made with Bombers. Bombers Bits is a South African brand. They're incredibly supportive of the work I do. They have learned as well. We've put some bits on the market that didn't exist before we started moulding. They're very good at changing and listening and working with me. So if it was a customized,
they're very much they're very much a new brand as well, aren't they? They haven't been around for centuries. If you think of some of these brand names of bits, they've been around almost as long as horse riding's been around. Some of the European.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing about Bombers is that each one's handmade, and that makes a huge difference to me. That they're not cast. You see, every horse is different, and you can't. They're not small, medium, and large. You can't put a mouthpiece in that says small, medium, and large because they're not. They're all different. They're all measured differently, and not all horses are 5.5. They vary terribly, but the bit for each horse exists in some way, and we just have to find it. And once we find it, as Liz says, the penny drops, and you have a marble moment, and then you're more confident with your bitting. You're able to then move forward, or you phone me up and say this, and this. And we're able to say, like, that's where you need to go with the bitting. So we don't really. We did start at the very, very beginning when we found these uneven bars. It was like a eureka moment, and we started customising. But then we realised we didn't actually have to. We just had to get over it. And the same with the bone spur. Some spurs we have surgically removed. You press and you palpate them, and the horse hits the ceiling. We have to then send them over to a vet to get them removed, which, as a typical bitting, you would never see that because you've never gone into the horse's mouth.
Just to simplify that a little bit for a lot of our listeners, I mean, I think certainly one thing I was impressed about is that what you don't realize sometimes, and this is what I think everybody should pay attention to, is that you can briefly look at your horse's mouth and think that there are no sores, but quite often they can be very fleshy in their mouths, and there could be sores way up inside, the mouth from the different choices of bits. And that was something that I actually learned a lot. Not that all of mine were sore, but I remember you commenting on that, and it was interesting. And I think that, what we could, we do hope that you'll come over to the USA. I think we're working on that. I hope we'll be able to get you over here. And
yes, we are.
Some people will be able to experience it. So hopefully we can get that done. But I would say in the meantime, I hope we can impress upon some people listening to our show who maybe or that person who believes every horse should go in one bit and is struggling with something, is that if something isn't working, then definitely look into your horse's mouth, make sure that things are not making them sore somewhere they aren't, and try things, and that there are people like yourself out there, who could be available to help and assist. And with that in mind, is there a way that someone could contact you? Are you on social media as well? Or
yeah,
great. And what would that be?
You can get hold of me through Facebook simply using my name. It's Sue Gilliatt, and you can email me, which is Sue at Gilliatt Gilliatt Holdings with an S.com. I'm sure that will go up on your website because I probably said that very quickly, which I apologise for.
No, we'll make sure that all your contact details are clear and available. And of course, anybody could contact us and we would put them in touch with you. And I think this has been fascinating, and thank you very much for being on the show. And I really hope that this has helped to shed some more light on the minefield that is bidding. And thank you very much, Sue, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
The Eventing Riders Association of North America is the collective voice of riders, equine professionals, and owners in pursuit of enhancing the growing sport of eventing in North America. In cooperation with our members, governing bodies, related committees, and organizers, ERA of NA works to improve the overall welfare, safety, visibility, and growth of the sport. ERA of NA, your voice matters for the sport of eventing. Jump in and engage by becoming a member today. Find them online at www.eraofna.com.
Joining us now on the Eventing Radio Show is a young up-and-coming superstar. I mean, we're calling him a superstar, but he's still very young, and he's an Irish sensation. It's Cathal Daniels. Carl, welcome to the Eventing Radio Show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, mate, your record is fairly phenomenal, and I don't know, you might know the statistics. I'm not a big statistics man. We almost need equi ratings on the line here, but you've won medals at pony level, at junior level, at young rider level, and senior level. Now, I don't know many, if any, other riders that have managed that feat, so that is fairly phenomenal. So have you compared yourself to other riders? Do you know anybody else that's managed to achieve that feat?
Honestly, I actually don't know that. I don't think anybody Irish, I've thought about it on the Irish perspective before. I don't think anybody's come through all the way lucky enough to get medals in all of them, but
before the age of 25.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we can definitely account that there was no other Irish rider has done it. But I'm gonna set Jen, our producer, on the task of researching this one and see if she can find out if there's any other riders that have done this. But I mean, it's a fairly phenomenal record because most people don't even get to represent their country at pony level. Most people don't ever get to represent their country at junior level. And then you take it to young riders and seniors. And as Liz just dropped in there, you've not exactly been in the senior ranks very long. So talk us through that first senior representation. Were you all out ready, expecting medals?
Well, like going back to ponies and being lucky enough to represent Ireland from the beginning. I only did one Pony Europeans and made it count when it happened. I had a very good pony, and it's kind of what got me into the whole thing of eventing. But through juniors, young riders, and seniors, I started with Regan Rua as a 6-year-old in juniors in Jardy, and she's been my European horse since then. So going to seniors, it wasn't so different to me because obviously I had the same horse underneath me, and I knew what we were capable of. But yeah, like going to WEG last year, it's a big deal, obviously, and there's a lot of good horses and riders there. So going with a good, strong team was a good advantage, and we all done our bit, and we all competed to our best ability, and was able to pull the medal from there, which was it was quite amazing. To be fair, it was a very big thing for Ireland to win a senior medal at a World Games. So going into the Europeans this year, it was I suppose it gave me a little bit of confidence at least. But the individual medal is something I really, really wanted to go and do this year. It was kind of it was my aim for bringing her to the European. She didn't need to go; she was already qualified for next year. So it was I was going there to be competitive, but obviously a lot of people go there to be competitive. So it was a big deal being able to get the individual medal this year.
I mean, she is just the coolest little horse, isn't she? And you've got an incredible relationship with her. And, she's, just for those who don't really know that much, she is tiny as well. She's a little firecracker, ginger mare. And I remember standing next to you in the prize giving at Lamulin last year and thinking, God, she really is, a little compact little thing, isn't she? But an absolute powerhouse and so fast and such an incredible jumper. And I remember at the time you actually said to me, oh gosh, I'll bet our coach will be dying if I get selected for WEG because he'll have to deal with me on the flat with this mare. And I think she actually did quite a quite a good test, didn't she? So you must be sort of getting all the phases figured out now, because it was always about, you could count on her in the jumping and she was so fast, but, and of course yourself being so young as well, but it must be that partnership you've got with her, and you're really starting to just put all the pieces in place now.
Yeah, for sure. She's always been amazing cross country. Every track and every question, it's like she's been in school the day before when she goes cross country. She's has an incredible brain, and she's very quick thinking and quick on her feet. And her jumping has always been quite strong, but it has gotten even better now. But the dressage has always been, it's always been a little bit of a struggle. She's not a horse you can tell what to do at all. She's very, very opinionated, and she struggles with learning different things. But we've definitely cracked her on the dressage now, and like to the point of where she enjoys doing all the work, and she finds it very easy, and it's just about managing all of that now. So I think going to WEG and competing in front of the big crowd in the stadiums really helped her, because in Lamulin this year she felt very much at ease, even leaving the arena with the crowd applauding and everything like that. She didn't even get bothered about it. So it's taken a little bit of time to get her to where we want her to be in the dressage, but she's there now, and hopefully she can stay there for another while.
So, Cathal, she has, of course, been your top horse for a while now, but you've recently taken on the ride of another horse that has seen not just one but two top riders be on board before, and you've actually had a pretty good spin, I'd say, in the off-season. A lot of, in the European off-season, there's, of course, no eventing, but there's a lot of indoor eventing in various different countries throughout Europe, which is hugely good fun. And you've been out there winning quite a lot on a new ride that came from none other than Oliver Townend. So just talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so Alcatraz, he's a 14 years old gelding. So I hadn't done an indoor eventing before. It's something I always kind of thought of doing, to be fair, but I just had never done one. So yeah, he was quite new to me. I got him before Stuttgart. Took him to international jumping show for the week before and jumped him in a few classes. Really nice horse, really good jumper. And so we took him to Stuttgart, not really knowing each other, obviously, but had a really good class there. It was a really good show. The cross country was quite technical enough, like decent enough for in an indoor, and managed to win the class. So that was quite good. And so we're just back from Geneva, which was an amazing show. It's my first time there, and it's really a show that I'd like to go to every year. To be fair, it's something else. It's one of the best shows I've ever been to, and got the win in Geneva as well. So it's been a very good horse for me, for a horse that I haven't had for very long. Hopefully we can win a few more. Aim to go to Liverpool with him next for the indoor eventing.
You've just ruined my day. I was just thinking, I hope he's not going to Liverpool, because I've been chasing you this indoor arena eventing circuit as well. Bringing out my old favourite, and I've been suffering from faultitis. So you've been kicking my butt at most of these, except for the Paris one. And I went to the Paris one, and I thought that was the biggest and best show I'd ever been to. I didn't go to the Geneva one, but it's interesting to hear you say that, from going straight from Paris to Geneva, that you think the Geneva show was the biggest and best show you've ever been to. So it's even bigger and better than the Paris one.
Yeah, it maybe not so much on the shopping stalls and around like that. It's maybe not as big as what Paris is, but the arenas and the atmosphere and just the show in general from the horse's point of view was pretty cool. The top 10 Grand Prix was on straight after the indoor eventing, and the caliber of horse and rider there is next to none. It's the best, literally the best in the world. We're all lined up with their best horses, and it's a very good show to be able to compete at.
Well, now we're both off to Liverpool for the indoor arena eventing class there. You're taking Alcatraz. I'm taking my horse Bonza King of Rouge again, and I'm hoping that I'm going to leave a rail up this time so that you don't keep beating me too often. So you think these indoor arena eventing classes are good fun? Are they a future of the sport, or are they just for the off season, or are they just a good way to get to know a new ride like what you're doing? What's your opinion on these classes?
I suppose it depends what way you look at it yourself, but they're for the shows that are big enough like that. There is loads of room to run indoor eventing class. I think it's very good for the public to see eventing up close. People that might not go to an actual event, and it's very different from what a lot of show jumpers would see. They walk their show jumping tracks and think nothing of it and jump around them, but they see us jumping these fences, which aren't the top of our sport, obviously, and they think it's unbelievable that we rock on down to these at a high speed, and we just do it like it's nothing. But I think it's definitely not a bad thing. They're good fun. The crowd get very involved. It makes it feel like a big atmosphere, and it's a nice novelty class, if nothing else, for the show to have.
So I'll tell you what we've got over here, Cathal, that's similar, and I think it is a really great thing, is we do these showcase events, and we've got one at Wellington, so it's running alongside, all the jumping classes and stuff, but they have made it so that they keep it a really short cross-country in the big Derby fields, but we do a proper dressage test and jumping, and it's really great. Like, the public comes, and they have another great one. They do a few throughout the year, and I think that's actually pretty cool as well, because you can still take maybe your older horse that hasn't, got much more eventing left in it, but still loves the sport, and then you run around a 3-minute cross country and still do everything. So I think there's sort of different versions of this indoor jumping, or this sort of showcase type eventing that's great for the public, it's great for the sponsors, great for the owners. And gives these horses a little bit of something different to do, maybe in the off season or towards the end of their career.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's another point of it too. If you have a horse that's maybe not going to be doing your big events either, you can still have it. It can be in full work and travel to these shows in the winter time over here, and still have a lot of competing left in it, even though it's not the long formats you might have been doing it before, but still, and it can be very competitive, and they're not very taxing on the horses. It's over within 3 minutes, as you said. So it's the longevity of the horse. They can get a lot of years out of them in their later life and still really enjoy it.
They are a very intense competition, though. You don't want to be taking a young horse in there. You'd certainly want to have an experienced horse. Those jumps come up thick and fast, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Even in Geneva, the arena is huge, but the course was like a jigsaw puzzle. Even walking it, there was people going around in circles, and there are so many fences. And for the horses, if you want to go and be competitive and you want to go fast between the fences, the horses need experience to be able to pick up the fences only on the last 3 strides, sometimes 2 strides, to be able to jump them clean and keep going fast, because a green one that is a little taken about by the crowd and all the fences, it's going to need extra time. Like, it is very intense, and if you have a little bit of a hairy moment over a fence, it's you need to be on the ball to be able to get back into position and back onto the next fence, because it could be nothing, maybe 3 or 4 strides away from it. So it's it is for the few minutes that you're in there, it is quite intense. Yeah.
Indeed. So Liz mentioned the horse that you've targeted at these shows this year is Alcatraz, and she said that it's recently come from Oliver Townend, but before that, he's come from Alex Bragg, and Alex in fact won one of these indoor arena eventing classes, I think last year. So it always fascinates spectators of our sport how the horses can move from rider to rider, and we've just been talking to a bitting expert who's citing a top horse moving from Michael Young to Andrew Hoy, and she's going to go and help Andrew Hoy get to know this horse. And you've mentioned about getting to know this horse, so what happens with the politics of all of that? Are you in good terms with Oliver and Alex? Do they give you any hints, or are they got voodoo dolls and daggers out for you because you've taken their horse from them? You know what's the inside gossip there?
Yeah, but like I think different riders deal with it differently. But for me, I've been riding different horses from when I was very young. Whether it's just competing them on the day for people or just getting new rides and buying and selling. So I think in a way I'm a little bit lucky. I don't really mind riding a new horse. Obviously it's nice to get to know them and it's nice to have a partnership, and for going to the big shows it is definitely an advantage. But for the likes of the indoor eventing, I think if the horse has been educated properly, I wouldn't really be worried too much about hopping on and riding the horse at the shows. It's not ideal, obviously, but yeah, like with the eventing, I think it's a little bit of a problem in the eventing. It's difficult for an event rider to get on a horse and go do a 4-star dressage test, because the horse might know all the tricks, but maybe not just in the way that that rider rides. Whereas in the jumping world, like, horses pass hands all the time. It's very, very common for horses just to keep moving around different riders, different owners, and I think they can go to the bigger shows quicker in the jumping. So it's something, yeah, that a lot of eventing people, they have their horse from younger or from a lower level, say, and they build up and then they stay. But it's difficult. I think it's a lot got to do with the riders, whether the rider is happy to change horses and upper level horses and just get on them and go to shows. And it is done in the eventing. I'm not saying it's not done in the eventing, but just not as common as it would be in the jumping.
Yeah, it's definitely more difficult when you've got 3 completely different phases to do, and like you say, not knowing what all the buttons were with the rider that was with them before. But Cathal, before we wind up, I'm just going to ask you one of my favorite things to ask, which I always ask our top riders, and you're definitely one rider that we have not had a chance to ask this before. So I love to always ask everyone for their number 1 top training tip. Try saying that 12 times fast. But yeah, we always like to know, it can be anything that you say, maybe when you get on a new horse or you're working with young horses. I know you've had a lot of that, but whatever is your number 1 top training tip, go for it. No pressure.
Number 1 top training tip.
No, that was only once. You got to say 12, remember? 12 times. Go.
For me, I suppose I do a lot of my training, gymnastic work, pole work with horses on the ground, even small grids and bounces and turning bounces and stuff like that. So I think it is important because when you're training with grid work and bounce work and pole work, I think the rider does a lot less and the horses to do a lot more. I think you can ride a lot of tracks and give your horses a lot of help. And with eventing, we don't jump big tracks in the show jumping. We jump decent tracks for what the horses are doing, but I think the rider can help that a lot on the day. So I think it's important in the training at home to do a lot of gymnastic work that makes the horse work for themselves and work properly. So I suppose the top training tip I'd say for this evening would be never do enough bounce work and grid work and stuff like that.
Bounce, pony. Bounces and grid work and gymnastic works. There you go. That's the secret to success for medaling at every level. You've heard it here first from Cathal Daniels. So mate, thank you very much for joining us and giving us your time on the Eventing Radio Show. It's been a pleasure listening to you, and I look forward to kicking your butt at Liverpool Indoor Arena Eventing at the end of this month. All of our listeners will want to follow you on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and on your website and all of those sort of things. So we will put all of those links to your social media platforms on our website. But just quickly, anybody who doesn't want to search our website and they're on their horse or they're mucking out listening to this in their AirPods, just quickly tell us how they can find you on any of those platforms.
Yeah, Instagram, you can find me at CDS Sport Horses, and on Facebook, the page is Cathal Daniels Sport Horses.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Cathal. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Eventing Riders Association of North America podcast.
If you'd like to learn more about the Eventing Riders Association of North America and everything they do, visit their website at eraofna.com.
You can find the links to today's guests and topics at eventingradio.com. And follow Eventing Radio on Facebook. Just search for The Eventing Radio Show. And of course on Twitter at Eventing Radio.
Listen to the Eventing Radio anytime, anywhere with the free Horse Radio Network app. It's for iPhone and Android devices. Just go to your app store and search Horse Radio Network. And of course, you can also subscribe to the podcast via iTunes.
I'm Liz Halliday Sharp, and you can follow me on Instagram at Liz Halliday Sharp, also on Facebook, Liz Halliday, and on Twitter at Liz Halliday, and of course on our website, hseventing.com.
And I've been Paul Tapner in your ears, and you can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on the website. Just search for Tapner Eventing. Thanks for listening.